Hi, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Just making a little video this evening. Just thought I'd give you an update on the conversion to electric start on the Lister G1. Otherwise entitled Saving the NHS some money and me some pain with no more starting handles. Pleased to report the old hand's doing very well actually, and pretty much back in action. So, while I've sort of been convalescing a bit, I've been tinkering around with this. And I finished machining up the adapter for the flywheel, and the flywheel all bolted on there. And I manufactured up this bracket down the bottom here to mount the starter. Fortunately, I was just able to squeeze the starter in between the face and the bottom of the block there, which worked out very well. And I made up this nice little support bar going across, and I put a couple of triangular corners on to stop it flexing under load. Just lashed the battery on there temporarily, hooked up some cables. View from the other side. Get the wires out of the way. Yeah, so it sits in there nicely. I've had to do a little bit of shimming just to get the pinion height right, but it works absolutely fine. So now we can simply come around the front of the engine, flick on the ignition, press the switch, and with a bit of luck, and away it goes. Now, how much safer is that? As you can see, I've put a temporary exhaust on there with a very scientific bit of gaffer tape joining it up, but now makes it run nice and quietly. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. That's worked out very nicely. You see how easy the old girl starts. So hey, one little revolution, away she goes. And that was pretty much cold, so can't really fault that. I do need to machine this flywheel down a bit more, because this edge here is where I ground it off when it was a dual mass, and swings out a true a little bit. Doesn't really make any difference, but might look a bit better, and I will of course paint it all up. And I will be manufacturing a safety cover, because that's pretty scary with that whizzing round at the back of there. But no, I'm very pleased how it's all worked out. So as usual with me, it's a load of bits I found in the shed and a bit of adaptation and a bit jiggling around, and bingo. So the starting handle is now redundant and is condemned to live in the shed. Excuse me. So that's two of my bigger engines converted. Not sure what I'm going to do about the other little engines yet. Might come up with some devious idea for those, but you know, I don't run them very often, but this is the one I'm more interested in at the moment. So, and it's getting heavier and heavier by the day now with the addition of an extra battery and whatnot. But I'm very pleased with the outcome. So anyhow, not an awful lot happening in the workshop this week, but I'm doing quite a bit of major surgery on one of my vehicles at the moment. Oh yes, that is more tea, as you've probably spotted. Anyhow, this is my 1997 Transit recovery truck, fitted with the ultra reliable 2.5 DI engine, non-turbo. Done 168,000 miles now. It's actually in pretty remarkable condition for its age. Oh, sun reflection on the side there. These are original doors. This is an original seal down here. All holding up very well. It's had various bits and pieces done. Front wings have had a few little patches on. You can see a few odd bits and pieces, but again, they are original. As likewise is the bonnet. And this side's there's a bit of a crack, and It's got a bit of filler in there which is cracked, and a few little tender areas here, but again they are original panels. And likewise this door is also original, and the bottom of that panel there is. And the step has had a little minor repair in here, but otherwise that is all factory original. So anybody who knows his old transits well will know that's pretty amazing. See, likewise the door is all lovely and clean. Well, it's clean, bit of mud on the corner, but ignore that. Anyhow, the major job I've got to do in this poor old girl at the moment is that where the body's constructed, there are 5 cross members running straight across all the way from this side rail all the way through the middle and tying the 2, say, side rails in. I have renewed the 2 rear ones. There's one about here which is okay. There's one here that's getting tender, and the one at the front here is quite poor now, and obviously it's trapped in the gap there, and I put this on just to make it look nicer for an MOT, I believe. Cough, cough. And it's getting a bit horrible. I took the winch off, and so there's somewhat lovely lumber crustiness in the winch mounting plate and whatnot. So what I'm actually going to be doing is removing the front section of the body here. I'm going to be cutting it off here, the cross members there. I'll be cutting straight through the side, straight through the checker plate, through here. This is only wood here, so there's nothing underneath, and literally lifting this entire section here out. And then I will be replacing the other member back here while I'm in here. It's not in bad shape, but it will be in the future. The decking itself is basically just welded in at the sides here and sits on a piece of angle. The piece of angle will be renewed, and I'll simply cut across the deck, cut across here, lift it out and weld it back in. Here's the joins from when I did it before. That's when they made the truck. There's a join here and a join further back. I actually cut this section here out to do the 2 members. Exactly the same thing. Left the side rail and renewed the angle. What I'm actually going to do this time is carry out a little bit of modification. There is about about sort of 6 inches available underneath there to the chassis, and I'm actually going to sink the winch into a pocket so that the winch is lowered down, so that when you put a car on, the front bumper doesn't actually hit the winch, because you obviously have to set the car back a bit further from the winch to clear it, and unfortunately that means the front wheels can be back a fair way down the truck, upsetting the balance. So I'll gain quite a bit there. Don't know how well it's going to show up underneath here, but see that grey bit of paint there, and there's some grotty looking bits of cross member on there and whatnot. And where the original chassis finish is there, and that's about as low as I can bring the winch plate down. These side rails here are also quite rusty on the insides and are quite horrible, and I will be replacing those at the same time. It makes life easier. I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do on the back of the cab down the bottom there. A couple of minor things that need tidying up, but on the whole, the chassis is holding up very well. I do spend a lot of time looking after it, as so anybody who knows these transits well will appreciate. And the rest of the chassis, it's a bit dirty under there, and mud, but it's all painted nicely all the way through, and do any patches that need doing. In fact, there's a couple of patches around this side I did recently. Bored a few months ago and had a bit of time, so see this side's all nice and shiny. There's a nice new plate in there, and the bottom section was done under there, so new bolts, and all this has been tidied up. But the chassis is like that all the way through to the front. I've done various repairs along the way, and it keeps it all in good order. It doesn't do a great deal of work now, to be honest with you. I used to buy and sell a few cars and whatnot, but mostly now it of course picks up stationary engines and similar, and various other little projects, moves a few bits of wood around and bits and bobs, but it's a trusty old girl. I love the old thing. It's been brilliant. They don't understand the concept of going wrong. It's great on fuel, and it's probably one of my most favourite vehicles out the 4 I own to drive. It's just one of them sort of trusty old things that you know is going to get you where you want to go. In fact, several years ago, Bobby, winter of I think 2010, we had an awful lot of snow, and I was actually up at my father's in Derby, and I left there heading up north to pick a car up when we had a major blizzard, and I actually had a Dave Matisse on the back at the time, and me and the trusty old truck here battered our way back all the way through over the peaks and all the way back to my old property, which is well, not far away from where I am now in West Norfolk. And she made it home no problem. The snow at times was actually over the height of the front bumper. But this trusty old girl just kept going and going and going. And where lots of more, say, luxurious and expensive vehicles had fallen by the wayside, the old transit here just laughed at it. Remarkably good in slippery conditions and gripped remarkably well. So it was quite amusing to be going where no one else was going. So it's a loyal old friend, and I do try and keep on top of it, clean it up and keep it going. And it's a good old bus. I've had it now for about 14 odd years, and it only actually had 88,000 miles on it when I purchased it. So still a very low mileage example. Anyhow, what I will actually do, I will post another video once I've actually chopped the body off, which will probably be at the end of this week, and get some idea of what I'm up against, and I'll show a few little short videos on a bit of reconstruction and manufacturing of new cross members and whatnot. I quite enjoy that sort of fabrication work, and it's quite nice to get stuck into it for a change. So anyhow, that's just an update on a couple of things that's happening this week. Hope you enjoyed this short video. Please like and subscribe, as my numbers are going up really well on YouTube, and I'm very, very pleased with how the channel's going. So any feedback is very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.